Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol.
Did you know YNW Melly's ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton departed the United States before his trial to avoid testifying against Melly, to then being detained and freed, all before YNW Melly ever had a chance of being released? Well, today it was reported Melly's ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton has been freed from the Paul Reed detention facility as of Saturday, February 8th, following Judge Fai's order for her release on Friday, February 7th, during an emergency hearing. Friday's hearing was the first time Melly and Mariah had seen each other in person since he surrendered himself to the Broward sheriffs in February 2019, as this led in Melly's attorneys pushing for his release, which even the court ended up agreeing it would be announced. Mr. Demons has now been in detention for 22 days. If one of the state lawyers is not available, maybe the other two assigned to the case can stand in. If all three aren't available, maybe one of the 150 state lawyers upstairs could sit in. This judge is no longer playing games. Melly's been sitting in jail too long. He's pushing his case through, which is what he needs. However, Mariah getting released is not good for YNW Melly, as when she was allowed to be released, Melly was allegedly very angry inside of court as well. Being driven home from jail, Mariah Hamilton would then post on Facebook acknowledging her friends and family who supported her while she was detained. The post reads, "And my village, thank you to my village, I love you all so much, God's plan not mine." As she allegedly didn't like how this was broadcasted on the local news. Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 20,123. Understanding how jail was for Mariah, she already stated she never wants to go back, so part of her agreement to be released from jail, she had to confirm with the judge that she will be at the next coming YNW Melly trial to testify against her ex-boyfriend, as the feds already know what happened to SNITCHES and Juvie. All they need is her to confirm it in front of the jury to wrap up Melly's life practically, as the feds would expose inside a courtroom all the findings from her iCloud account, where they noticed suspicious activity relating to Melly, forcing her not to testify in the last trial. This is known as witness tampering. It also carries a life sentence in prison regardless if Melly actually took out SNITCHES and Juvie, filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction, as the feds began their investigation on Mariah after people in Melly's hometown began speaking on Mariah's involvement. It even resulted in YNW Juvie's father doing his own investigation around the block, as Juvie's father would learn the code words Melly used against Mariah to make her not testify against him in trial, as if those code words do match what the feds found in her iCloud account, it's pretty much a wrap for YNW Melly. And even Melly himself knew this, as it didn't settle well as he would show up to a court hearing recently, reacting with his true emotions, walking and looking very angrily without a haircut.
This kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person.
As the judge couldn't even believe how long Melly's been sitting inside a jail without a conviction, he straight up told the prosecutors to give us a reason Melly shouldn't at least get a bond, or I'm releasing him by tomorrow. But the feds, they ended up doing one better, hitting YNW Melly with more witness tampering charges, absolutely ruining his chance of being released. But it does answer the question on why he's being treated so poorly inside a jail, as an interview from Melly's mother made the claim that he hasn't been allowed to use a phone or even look at his own mail inside a jail. "My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him." But if the evidence is true that YNW Melly used the jail phones to make Mariah Hamilton not testify against him, that's why the jail hasn't allowed him to use it, and they would have the evidence stored away until trial begins to confirm it. The feds wouldn't just keep him away from the phones if it was a hunch. Due to this, Jamie King then revealed she feels absolutely heartbroken for her son. She feels helpless. He's not even being treated like a human inside a jail. When you saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life as a mother, how did that make you feel? It's heartbreaking. It make me feel completely helpless. Brower shares off. Absolutely has to be checked. I mean, they guys are setting up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him and the jail. They make their own rules, and I don't think that's fair because I know that they need to answer to someone to this. However, got a lot of attention from the media as Charleston White reacted, sharing that this is what the complex nature of the situation involving YNW Melly, a rising rap star, and his current legal troubles reveals a deep divide in public opinion. On one hand, some people believe that YNW Melly should face the consequences of his actions, including being treated harshly while incarcerated. Others, however, sympathize with him, pointing out the human toll of his situation, not only on him, but also on his family, as well as the mental strain of being in jail under the stress of such serious charges. This issue ultimately raises questions about the intersection of celebrity, criminal behavior, and the humanity of those involved. The stance that YNW Melly shouldn't be receiving special treatment because he's a rapper highlights a broader societal issue where celebrity status is sometimes seen as a shield that can protect individuals from the consequences of their actions. This line of thought asserts that being a famous artist doesn't exempt anyone from facing the full brunt of the justice system. In this case, the person expressing this opinion believes that Melly's fame should not factor into how he is treated while incarcerated. They argue that because Melly has been charged with serious crimes, including the alleged double murder of 2 of his friends, he should be subjected to the same conditions as any other person in prison. The sentiment expressed by this individual can be understood as a tough stance on accountability and justice. In their view, Melly, having allegedly taken 2 lives, has forfeited any right to complain about how he is treated. The idea here is that once someone takes another person's life, they lose the moral ground to argue for better treatment or mercy. This perspective reflects a broader societal belief in personal responsibility, where individuals must live with the consequences of their actions, especially when they are as grave as murder. Yet, this perspective is not universally accepted, especially when considering the mental and emotional toll that being incarcerated under such circumstances can have. While the belief in holding people accountable for their actions is vital, the harsh treatment of those in prison can raise ethical questions about the limits of punishment. Should prisoners be treated in a way that preserves their dignity and humanity, or is mistreatment justified based on the severity of their crimes? This dilemma often leads to heated debates about the justice system's approach to rehabilitation versus punishment. On the other side of the debate, there are figures in the rap community, such as older rap veterans or OGs, who speak about the emotional and psychological toll of being in jail. These individuals, including the rapper Boosie, have spoken out in support of Melly, expressing empathy for the immense stress he is under while facing such serious charges. Boosie, who has his own history of legal issues, shared his perspective on Melly's struggles, noting the emotional burden Melly is likely enduring, especially as his mother and loved ones also experience the trauma of his imprisonment. Boosie himself has spoken candidly about his own experiences with incarceration and how challenging it can be, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. His perspective helps remind us that even individuals who have committed serious crimes still face the same human suffering as anyone else who is wrongly imprisoned or subjected to harsh conditions. There's a parallel drawn between Melly's experience and the hardships his mother has faced, potentially due to the emotional weight of her son's legal troubles. Boosie's comments reflect the idea that the stress of such a situation can extend beyond the incarcerated person, affecting their family and loved ones, who must endure the emotional turmoil of seeing their relative go through a painful legal battle. This shift in perspective emphasizes the importance of considering the broader context in which people find themselves, including the effects of their past actions on those closest to them. The notion of family support and understanding comes into play here, highlighting the difficulty of navigating both the criminal justice system and the emotional costs of being involved in such a high-profile case. In the end, The conversation about YNW Melly's current situation is about balancing the need for justice with the recognition of human complexity. While Melly's actions, if proven true, warrant accountability, the question arises whether mistreatment while in custody is truly the most effective or just response. The debates surrounding this issue reflect a deeper conversation about how we treat those who break the law, the toll of criminal charges on both individuals and their families, and the responsibilities that come with being a public figure.
Let me repeat myself. Mr. Devins has to make an informed decision about who he wants his lawyers to be. He's now been sitting in our jail for 2,000.
However, YW Melly's lawyers would go one more chance of trying to get Melly released. They would bring up this evidence from the original trial where Melly was texting Mariah Hamilton in real time when the crime was going down when he was running away from me. A post-drive-by that would be the first he's saying that someone just shot the car up and was trying to shoot them. So I asked him if he was okay where he was, and he's like, there's a car coming behind him, like hiding. He was like, there's some. Yeah, there's some. I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Sack and Dewey? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think proving that YW Melly could have been getting chased by a car is Bell's own. Lawyers used GPS evidence to track him sprinting down a street at that exact moment. He even then said he hid in a bush, which GPS evidence does confirm, but also in the YW Melly trial was the prosecutors admitting there was never a firearm found. So the first thing is I didn't have a, so I can't know which I'm going to use them in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for fashion because I don't know what was used. Okay, but sadly this wouldn't even be nearly enough, as there would be even more new charges against Melly and Borton as YW Borland's home was raided by the feds, where Borland drew on a piece of paper all the jurors in Melly's original trial. A report reads, here are the images of alleged notes discovered during the home raid of YW Borland's home, as Borland, who showed up to Melly's original trial for one day, committed a serious crime once returning back home. Melly's co-defendant YNW Borland was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-count warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Long Crime Network states as follows: one are about April 10th, 2023, continuing through and including July 22nd, 2023, Courland Henry aka Borton along with others did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues. The alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamal Demons aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day. The warrant claims Portland reportedly interfered with a witness. This is incredibly criminal. Jurors are intended to be disguised inside a trial process for their own protection. As to grasp how serious it is, here's DJ Academic Mix reply to keep it genuine. This is sloppy. Borland, how are you going to have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh, like come to on. It's like doing and having the survey surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like come on, bro, like that rage or crib and then the surveillance footage of these in your DVD play. They'd be like, oh okay, thank you brother, this can't be at your crib. YW Borland was the one that committed this crime. However, they're still going to find a way to pin it against YW Melly. Like Bowie even said, the feds are doing anything they want to Melly, whether it's legal or not. When they want you, they want you. I knew they wanted them bad when they waited for that law to get passed. Yeah, he was in jail for what, 2 years, 3 years? Yeah, they could have been took you to trial. You're right, they waited till that law got passed and took him to trial a couple months later. I just don't to see how he didn't get a bun after a missed. Yeah, that made me like, goddamn, yeah. However, when you add this to the evidence that was found on YW Melly's cell phone, there is zero chance of him ever being released, as the feds found a text message where he admits to doing the crime. The PG Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, I did that, and placed a smiley face emoji. And the next message from 10/26/28/18 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time, the WW Melly count says, what after that? SHSHHHH, along with Melly's own words stating that he perpetrated the crime. They also discovered his response to the crime barely 7 hours after it was done, when him and Borland were spotted in a parking lot dancing to a music video, smiling and joking and dapping each other up. Melly still turned despite of what occurred today early morning. He's still out here being extremely optimistic. Turns still hey, but do still turn regardless of what happened. You already know.